Europe on edge, how Trump's NATO strategy and Russia's war are reshaping global power. The war in Ukraine has reached a critical turning point, and the geopolitical landscape is shifting faster than ever. As the conflict enters its third year, Russia continues to hold large portions of eastern Ukraine, while Ukrainian forces struggle to reclaim lost ground. But now, a new challenge has emerged, one that could change the course of the war and Europe's security forever. With Donald Trump back in the White House, US support for Ukraine is no longer guaranteed. President Volodymyr Zelensky, once reliant on American military aid, finds himself in an unprecedented crisis. On one side, Vladimir Putin refuses to cede occupied Ukrainian territories. On the other, Trump is withdrawing crucial US support, leaving Ukraine scrambling for alternatives. As tensions escalate, the world is watching. Will Europe step up, or will Russia expand its influence unchecked? Stay with us as we break down the high-stakes diplomatic battle that could decide the future of global security. Ukraine's reliance on the United States has been a defining factor in its ability to resist Russian advances. Since Russia launched its full-scale invasion, the US has provided nearly $66 billion in military aid, including advanced weaponry such as Patriot air defense systems, Javelin missiles, Abrams tanks, and Bradley fighting vehicles. But all of this changed when Zelensky met Trump in Washington, D.C. on February 28th. What began as a cordial handshake quickly turned into a tense exchange during their 40-minute press conference. Trump made his position clear. Ukraine must either strike a deal with Russia or prepare to stand alone. Days later, Trump officially ended all military aid to Ukraine, leaving Zelensky with no choice but to turn to Europe for help. For European leaders, Trump's decision sent shockwaves across the continent. NATO, a 75-year-old security alliance, now faces an existential crisis. Under Article 5 of the NATO treaty, all member states are committed to defending one another in the event of an attack. However, Trump has long criticized NATO, arguing that the United States bears too much of the financial burden. Initially, Trump demanded that all NATO members contribute at least 2% of their GDP to military spending. Now he's pushing for a dramatic increase to 5%, effectively shifting the cost of European security onto its own member states. European nations are divided on how to respond. Poland, Estonia, Latvia and Greece already contribute more than 3% of their GDP to defense. But other key players, including Germany, France and Spain, fall short of even Trump's original 2% threshold. Countries such as Portugal, Italy and Canada contribute even less, raising concerns that Trump may refuse to defend NATO allies who fail to meet his demands. The situation is further complicated by Trump's close relationship with billionaire Elon Musk, who has publicly advocated for a US exit from NATO altogether. If the US were to withdraw from NATO or significantly reduce its support, Europe would face an unprecedented security dilemma. While NATO forces are numerically comparable to Russia's military, they lack the heavy weaponry, air power and nuclear capabilities that the US brings to the alliance. Without American backing, Europe would struggle to defend both Ukraine and itself against potential Russian aggression. European leaders now face a difficult choice: increase military spending to meet Trump's demands, or risk being left vulnerable in a rapidly changing geopolitical landscape. Meanwhile, Russia continues to bolster its military operations in Ukraine, capitalizing on the uncertainty surrounding Western support. Putin's forces remain entrenched in key eastern regions, and without US military aid, Ukraine's ability to launch counter-offensives is severely weakened. The loss of American support not only affects Ukraine's battlefield strategy, but also sends a powerful message to other nations. US foreign policy under Trump is no longer predictable. For NATO, the stakes couldn't be higher. Europe's collective military capabilities pale in comparison to the United States arsenal, and Trump's skepticism towards NATO raises serious doubts about the alliance's future. Even with a unified European front, NATO's ability to counter Russian aggression would be significantly diminished without American leadership. European nations must now confront a reality they had long avoided, becoming self-sufficient in their defense strategies. The war in Ukraine has exposed deep fractures in Western alliances, and Trump's return to power has only amplified the uncertainty. With the US stepping back, Europe is forced to re-evaluate its role in global security. The NATO alliance, once a pillar of Western stability, now faces an existential crisis as Trump pressures European nations to take on greater military responsibilities. Meanwhile, Russia watches closely, ready to exploit any signs of weakness. As Zelensky turns to Europe for support, NATO leaders must make a choice: meet Trump's demands and strengthen their defenses, or risk a future where Russia's influence expands unchecked. The decisions made in the coming months will not only shape the future of Ukraine, but also determine the fate of global security for years to come. If you found this analysis insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more in-depth geopolitical coverage. Let us know in the comments: should Europe increase its military spending to meet Trump's demands, or is this a dangerous precedent for global security? Stay tuned for our next video, where we break down how China's growing influence could further reshape the world order. Click the notification bell so you don't miss it.